this place.
That's okay, Jan.
You guys give me a comb and a piece of paper off the floor. I mean, I'm down here on a, it's late, given my own time, and I have to do Ron S's song.
Hey, Jan, look, this is LSS television, right? We don't get paid for doing this, right? It's what we can put together. Now, come on.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Okay, go.
This
Great.
is my talent.
Loud and clear. This is it.
Jan is a woman of the moment.
Tonight we're going to microwave Jan.
And give her the instant gratification that you love so much.
Yes. Oh, Jan, we are so grateful for Jan. Oh, honestly, for being such an influential community.
Oh, I mean, she's just spread herself all over this community.
There's a price for this kind of commitment.
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you are aggressive,
assertive,
ruthless. Right, Jan? I mean, you're bound to make a few enemies.
Yeah, that's true, Susan.
Yeah, like you're clawing your way up that ladder of success.
Yeah, you're bound to scratch a few faces.
That's right, and those enemies, they're out there, Jan.
Even if you keep your nails nice.
Oh, yes. But Jan, there were people. I mean, the people who want to get back at you. The messages we got on our answering machine. Disgusting bribes, like big money to say the things. I mean, like, Marjorie Gallagher called. She wanted to talk about the shower, how it was all Jan's idea. They have the dessert shaped like...
beep, beep. And then why did she... I was flabbergasted. Someone as politically correct as Carol Zimmerman left a message about a trip to Laughlin that was...
Oh, my God, disgusting.
I'm going to destroy my tape.
I'm going to sell mine.
I mean, we are sisters.
And feminists.
Yeah, I mean, we vow not to let anything like that happen tonight.
No, we declare ourselves roastbusters. I mean, the feminist movement was not built on, passing judgment.
Or spouting little vindictive pettiness.
Or holding grudges.
I mean, if that were the case, really, I mean, Sue, you have a real case for holding a grudge against Jan. She hasn't given anything to the IT.
Since June of 1984. And Ross, I mean, if you were that kind of person, I mean, really mean. I mean, some people think that Molly, with that angelic little face, does not have a mean bone in her body. Oh, she does. But she's not like that. She's gone to therapy, right? But, I mean, if that was the case, I mean, you would have something really against Jan. I mean, she hasn't sent you a baby gift since Clay was born.
17 months, 8 days, 8 hours.
But who's counting?
I tell you, I'm completely understanding. I mean, that's what, consciousness raising will do for you. Jan's a busy career woman, and I know she doesn't have time to remember just a little old homemaker like me, with 2 little kitties at home.
One still at
the breast.
God.
I mean, I didn't expect, her to do that, because, I mean, every time I see Jan go on KUAT,
the epitome of a big lady.
It makes up for everything. I mean, I see Jan up there, pitching and representing all of us, and I just call immediately and give as much as I can to stop her from smiling so much.
Really? Oh, Jan, something that's so wonderful about Jan is her decisiveness.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I love that. I mean, she really is a woman who goes for it. She wants to get married, so she gets married after the 3rd date. She wants to so she's a mother of 2 after the first night.
But even though Jan is carried by so much the pressure of community projects and the rising cost of Jack Daniels, she remains, as she will one day write in her memoirs, a perfect human being. Now, she's always politically correct, even in her few private little personal moments. Jan never trashes another woman.
Like so many of you do.
I mean, she does instead read trash.
Well, yes, in fact, rumor that Jackie Collins' new book is based on Jan's life before she found religion. My life as a good lay person.
Well, it's you who has always been a bosom, but I mean, I don't know Jan at all. I mean,
No,
you know, I don't
the
know.
only reason you're here is because
I'm just here for you right now. But you have always been a bosom buddy with Jan, for whatever that's worth. And you know her with the
old Joel.
yeah, and the new Joel.
You know, she's always been the same Jan on the winner. I mean, nothing, not even scruples can hold her back.
A woman on the move.
And on the make. A woman who always runs with the winner, shoulder to shoulder. I mean, Tony Mason, Bruce Babbitt, Joe Ireland.
We're here to run with you tonight, Jan. We're gonna go the place. Go
Oh, absolutely.
Thank heavens we're enlightened in this relay race.
Yeah, absolutely. We will not allow, you have our promise, we will not allow anyone to get petty or nasty or hold a grudge. I mean, there's plenty I could, like, you come to my 40th birthday party. I mean, that's
How about I got invited to the shower then because I didn't go and give a gift. I didn't get invited to
I
the
know, and the Jan told me a week and a half after my birthday, said we go to have lunch. Now, that was an
Oh, but wait. So speaking of eating, it is time. The organizers of this gala event have asked Susan and myself to do the invocation.
But we decided to skip it. Since Jan doesn't have a prayer of coming out of this night unscathed.
So eat, drink, it's on Jan.
And maybe after dinner we'll find something interesting to talk about.
Maybe.
That's right, we're going to ID Jack Daniels.
Okay, we know some of you are going through withdrawal, having to have dinner without the TV set on. So, have we got an exciting that the one and only TCCC has put together an incredible show. I mean, I think it's probably Malls and Sue's host Oasis, or it's this year's Oasis, where Jan Lesher impersonates Malls and Sue's hosting Oasis. For those who are sitting at the side, you won't be able to see our large screen here, so you might want to stand up and go back there.
You don't want to miss this.
No, because this takes, absolutely. And so now, without further ado, we're going to turn the lights off. Mama McCaskey, can you get those shoes? This is a low-budget event. Just hit those switches. And now, Jan Lesher, not live, but on tape. From Joel's Private Library.
By breaking the rules. So we consider this a victory already. One project does cut table never hires women. Play out today. We're questioning some of the guys in here steroid practice.
Thanks a lot, Jan. We also have some good news and some bad news for the group. As you all know, we've been looking for the perfect present for Jan, and actually we found it just as we were going to the break. It was whale music, original whale music, performed originally by whales.
Not time is the perfect. I sound like I'm from satellite dish down here. You're talking whale music?
Well, Jan, the bad news is that they left, and we can't get the whale music. We're going to give it another shot tomorrow.
On a never-ending quest for the perfect gift down here.
However, there is another piece of good news, and that has to do with my Christmas present, which Shane got me last year. Do you want to talk about the Shane?
This was because Tom was a special friend and a dear friend for a long time. I read him your very own Tucson Community Cable Oasis Network Public Television t-shirt. Now these are pretty exciting shirts. I mean, look at this face. This was the Grimmer Surprise.
I'm almost right.
Shiny surprise.
For all you hooligans, we have a very special offer coming up.
We certainly do, John. This is incredibly exciting. Starting this break, continuing to us meeting for doctors that we have. You are massive. So it was like Vanna White. The true mothership off the way. It's time to reveal the mystery. All the beautiful garments you have seen in the fashion show, models here this evening, by our local celebrities, have their time. Director, you know, I'm a celebrity in this place.
That's okay,
You guys give me a comb and a piece of paper off the floor. I mean, I'm down here on a, you know, it's late, given my own time, and I have to do Ron Estes song.
Hey, Jim, look, this is public access television, right? We don't get paid for doing this, right? It's what we can put together. Now, come on. Be a sport.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
Okay, go.
This
Great.
is my talent.
Loud and clear. This is it.
If your automobile is moved, you are injured. However slightly, you are injured. So we're concerned with how far was that automobile moved, because the distance will determine the amount of injury, which direction it was moved, what part of the vehicle was hit. Did we get enough of that?
I don't know what the hell we did.
I was a local Episcopalian priest, and she came in to give her confession one day. And I heard it for half an hour. And I said, that's the girl for me.
It's my taste test. Okay. Okay. Switch and I usually eat food that doesn't match the
You're not gonna get any
Okay, so it's a word. In my mind, I don't usually talk with my mouth open, but it's very tough to do a live show and go, and turn out. There's the national logo, and on the other side is the TARDIS, which all of you Whovians, I'm sure, are aware of, and when you pour hot liquid or hot beverage into mug, as our able assistant is demonstrating at this very moment, the TARDIS will disappear. Now, it takes a few moments, so we're going to let the hot liquid begin to work its magic. We'll be coming back to it and remind you that it is your dollars and $50 more than I'm going to bring them up to your home. This is great as we speak already. Oh, holy moly, I'm telling you. You can do it now. way, see, one of the things that we do want to remind you of is Don. Don, I'm going to throw this puppy back to you. And we are back live at the corner of 4th Street and 4th Avenue. Just a few minutes, we'll be going back into a videotape of Tooth the Clown, another special afternoon here. We told you there's a lot of different activities going on at the street fair. And with me at this moment is Mr. Tony Mason, who is a Democratic candidate for the office of governor in the state of Arizona. Tony, nice to see you.
Thank you, Dan. It's nice to be here. I sure have to be here going from one farm to another. Nobody's safe when they gather together from politicians, you know, and so I thought I'd come down and meet some people and hope that they would meet me, and maybe somebody would know I'm not the football coach.
You're not the football coach? I thought we had a football coach here. We got the favorite cat toy, and what I encourage is this leather chair of my husband's, which is the ugliest chair you've ever seen in your life. But my husband seems to be very close to that, so we encourage the cat to rip it apart. We also have a dog, which is an appropriate cat toy, or come to think of it, our 2 small children. Welcome to this Thursday evening here at Channel 6. If you were in the theater right now and enjoying Tony Bennett with John Wayne's conducting the Tucson Pop, Boston Pop, Evening at Pop, you would be standing up and applauding with the rest of those folks. When you watch the program, when you see the end of that program come up, it will say, this program was made possible by this and other public television stations. That means it's your membership dollars at work. So just give us that call tonight at 621-1600 is the number to call. Become a member of the team. We love having your program after. And what you can do is, if you enjoy tonight's program, you will buy your membership dollars and help us continue to bring you programs that you like to your membership dollars and
To the OX director, now that you've gone to the private sector, political ambitions and worldwide fame are yours in the offing, even though you're a Dane. Your accomplishments, so numerous at Tucson Cable, wouldn't have been possible if you weren't so able. On TV, we see you at the KUAT Fleece. By the way, weren't you the producer of the Bhagwan Rajanich? Eclectic and varied was each of your days. We peeked in your office through the cigarette haze to watch the pleadings, exhortations, and cigarette butts. To face that each day sure took guts. But that's all in the past, and you're hitched to Reverend Joel. Remember, Jan, for you, in our hearts, there is a hole.
ovation to the people at TCCC who put this on.
said today. Anyhow, I think one of the things you probably noticed in there, as Jan's hairstyle changed through the years, she's obviously on her way to the governor's office. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for supporting the university.
The number to call, 621. I'll never forget.
Oh, the malls, the fun begins now.
Oh, it does.
Whoa, I always glitter.
We've had sweets, but now we're really going to get
Oh,
sweet.
God. And our first roaster,
Celebrant.
knew Jan when she was just a twinkle in her Republican father's eye.
When he was running for governor in '64, Jan was there for him.
I mean, some of us were working for Johnson, but Jan once more picked a winner.
That's right, and became a kid for climbing.
And now, the former, of course, you really did break this, and now the former student body president of Winslow High,
A trumpet player who tooted his own horn.
till the whistle was blown.
You smug left-wing liberal Democrats. I present to you a bona fide American patriot Republican of the United States of America. And I'm going to relate to you tonight an episodical conspiracy which, if it had been brought to fruition, none of you would be here tonight. It occurred in 1941 when I left from humble beginnings in Winslow, Arizona, came to the exalted University of Arizona and met Robert O. Lesher, our honoree's father. Because of his intelligence, because of his sycophantic position in our society, I was attracted to him immediately and became his clone. Indeed, it's said that I'm his clone even to today. When Jan was 8 years old, an insidious conspiracy that he had had in his mind for decades, he thought was time for fruition. At that time, his clone was announced as a candidate for the office of governor of Arizona in a Republican primary. In order to have a subterfuge for the insidious conspiracy that he had in mind, he enrolled his daughter Jan first, and literally thousands of young people in this state to wear a white t-shirt emblazoned with the description, "Kids for Kleindienst." That was the subterfuge. Because the real basis of this conspiracy was that upon the election of his clone, two things would occur. First, war would be declared on California, by which we get back our water. Secondly, upon the accomplishment of that event, Arizona was besieged in the United States, declare war upon it, and get a $1 billion a year grant as an unfriendly nation. Everything was working true to form. Thousands of young people, under the name of Kids for Kleindienst, who would later be the International Arizona Youth Group, spreading their message throughout the state. However, an event occurred that the master of this insidious conspiracy could not imagine, and that is that a man by the name of Evan Meacham decided to enter that Republican primary. He campaigned against the clone in the primary that I was a left-wing liberal because I went to Harvard. The day after he was defeated 3-1 in the primary, he announced for the Democratic opponent of the clone and campaigned actively against him with this left-wing liberal Democrat on the ground that I was a right-wing Goldwater conservative. The election was lost by almost exactly the number of votes that Mr. Meacham got in the primary, and the whole enterprise failed. However, there's a happy ending to every story of tragedy like this, and I think that the happy ending is why we are here tonight. Because if the enterprise had succeeded, you and I would not be here, but instead we are here to honor an attractive, active, aggressive, compassionate, caring, dedicated, effective, intelligent, involved, knowledgeable, loving, moving, trustworthy, wild-eyed, lefting, liberal Democrat that we all know her to be. Thank you very much.
I mean, he has been a jeweled thorn in the side of this community ever since.
For most of
Yeah, he was born here.
That's right. And at one time, Jan gave him private access.
To her public access.
There were people who would lay down their life defending a friend.
Not this man.
No. He went the whole hog. He laid down his job.
That's right, hallelujah.
A real upright citizen.
Even though I'm a member of MASS, Mothers Against Smith's Sarcasm, I can't help but admire a man who gets more mail than Santa Claus.
And here he is, a man whose greatest claim to fame was being a year ahead of Molly McCaslin at Tucson High, Jeff Smith!
Anybody see Police Academy? Something happened. Oh, why did you do that?
Yes, that's yours.
Oh, okay. Yeah?
Yeah, oops.
You got the hook there. Ouch.
Wire.
Yeah. This is a strange sort of situation this evening. Can you guys hear me? Do I need this thing? This works? Okay. This sort of relationship I have with former attorneys general. When I started out in college, I used to date William French Smith's stepdaughter, my wife. And then when I was in the hospital for a time, Dick Kleindienst's daughter took care of me. But I swear to God, and I hope this place doesn't get struck by lightning, I have absolutely no connection with Edwin Meese. None. I only hope Jan can say the same thing. You can all ask her about that later. When I came in here, I was thinking in terms of puns and whatnot. I'm trying to, find a few cheap laughs. It wasn't working real well, especially when Malls and Sue's got into this whole business about toasting and roasting and microwaving. I figured we could nuke her, but that wouldn't work. That's not even popular with Republicans anymore. But we're supposed to be out here as celebrants. The tone has been set for a real roasting. We can take the high right off her. But I'd rather not, actually, because what I have to say about Jan is semi-serious, at least. I mean it sincerely, even though it may not be all that solemn, and it may not be particularly funny for that matter, so just keep your mouth shut. I respect a woman. She's taught me a lot. She's my favorite kind of politician, and we all have to recognize that she is a politician, regardless of what she may be doing to earn her living, or what she may be doing in her private time and her off time. She is a politician. She deals with other people, and she's my favorite sort of politician because she's a loser. I admire that. I mean that honestly. I admire losing politicians, despite the fact that we have a winning politician standing in the doorway, all puckered up and nervous, waiting to come to. But one has to be a little bit suspicious of politicians who win all the time, because you're inclined to wonder what sort of deals they've cut and what accommodations they've made with their own consciences. But I can say honestly, as a citizen, a former citizen, who laid down whatever, including his job, for what Jan stands for and what I sat for then and now, I respect her for taking the chances, costing herself some career opportunities, to stick up for what we're here for tonight, which is public access television, and for her own principles. As a politician, you're supposed to learn how to count, first of all. Jan was never really able to get much past one. I mean, the trigger didn't count that well, so not really. And the one she counted stands in the door. I alluded to him earlier. But Jan had the guts, and still has the guts, to say what needs to be said in behalf of herself, in behalf of her sex, her race, her folks, for this or that or the other thing. Whatever comes up, if Jan believes in it, you can count on Jan to say what she means about it, even if it's going to cost her job. And as one who's paid that price of time too, I really mean I respect her for it, and I think you all do too. I know you all do. You wouldn't be here tonight, so I'm going to forego some of the usual frivolity and just try to leave you with that message, and with this thought too. When I first got reacquainted with Jan, I met her through politics when I made an aborted and pretty stupid run at the Board of Supervisors office. She was something of a neophyte, supporting various political causes, and then I ran into her in our mutual temporary careers in television. She told me something I could hardly credit, actually, that she had spent time as up in Flagstaff as a country and Western music fan. She said, oh, hell yes, we used to sit around, play the guitar, and dip and skull, and anyone who does that sort of thing has to do spitting the detritus from that into beer bottles down between our legs. And I thought about that, and I thought, no, I can't believe that. I'm sure you can't believe that either. Okay? Yeah. Look around here. Remember what you just saw on the screen in front of you. Can you picture this woman going, spitting the skull into a beer bottle between her legs? Right. Think about that one as someone with perhaps a few kinder words to say.
Tonight. Oh, that's true, Suze. There were some really notable community leaders who couldn't make it, but that did not stop them from sending pithy letters.
Absolutely pithy.
Intimate.
Intimate.
Because they were all, and are all intimates of Jane. Of course, she has a wide circle of very, very, how do I say, just highly respected community leaders.
Absolutely highly respected. And Miles, all of these people sent letters. They not only sent letters, but they asked for specific requests that certain people represent them. And that all of these people, unbelievably, are from First Friday.
A coincidence.
A coincidence that this group always represents somebody. They're never themselves. This is going to be a knockout, so hold on to your seats. This is going to be really, perhaps the most charismatic person I've ever met.
Yes, being represented by the second most charismatic.
Really? We got a letter from, hold on to your seats, the one man, the man, Henry Kaufman. Whoa. Right. See a speaker? Representing Henry tonight is the incredible Martin.
Henry who?
Hi.
Keep talking.
The president requested that she come dressed.
How unusual for Margie.
Step out and let us see your dress. For those of you who don't know, it doesn't matter.
President always has trouble with the mic.
Can you hear me? Wait,
You'll be up.
Okay, for just a minute. The president.
Can we all sing dun 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 dun?
Oh, look, he's
Take your band off.
He's in it. She's got a resume. Dear Jan. Thank you.
Makes things happen.
Dear Jan. I'm truly sorry I cannot be in attendance this evening. For the celebration of your leaving, Tucson Community Cable Club.
Behind.
As you may not
Did you hear that?
Can you hear me?
Community Cable Club. That's a problem. We heard you, Henry.
As you may not be aware, I feel a very special bond for you.
Got it.
Ever since the revenge of the nerds on the campus of the University of Arizona, and the opening scene was filmed in your childhood bedroom. You know, great fellows can make strange politics. And that is one of the reasons I'm not here tonight. As you are aware, my time has quite unexpectedly been consumed with the search to replace several top administrators at the university. For many reasons, Jan, you're widely known throughout Tucson. Success in the area of obtaining special loans, political strategy, your high regard for the Arizona State Legislature, in particular your inside understanding of the secretarial pool at the state capitol, and a sharp wit and tactful manner second only to George Cunningham. For these reasons, and unnamed others, I would like to urge you to apply for the position of Vice President of Administrative Services and to put to bed those rumors that have been circulating wildly about George's replacement. Take the high road to glory and join the ranks of those working for the University of Arizona.
First Molly taking Henry Cobbler's pants, but I got home alls. Oh, I mean, only to top the charismatic and charismatic, too. Feelings that happen with your Henry Cobbler's name, second only to none in charisma. We have a letter tonight from Bruce Babbitt. Good for you.
I represented Mr. Charisma for many years. And it's hard to get out of that habit, even unofficially. I like to apologize for not having any accoutrements, you know. I thought about what I could do that was an outstanding feature of Bruce Babbitt. And the only thing that I could think of to do would be to take off my glasses, in which case I couldn't read the letter. I have big earlobes. However, I wear them. I don't have an ethnic name, Greek, Hungarian, or otherwise. I have never been on the monkey business. But I do have a letter from Bruce Babbitt. Dear Jan, congratulations on tonight's celebration. It's about time Tucson honors somebody in a roast except Lou Murphy. And I think it's terrific. I think the governor would say enormously terrific, that you allowed yourself to be publicly humiliated to make money for T-Triple-C. Few Tucsonans know how really important you've been to my entire political career, and this occasion gives me the opportunity to thank you publicly. First, few recognize that you actually taught Fred Duval everything he needed to know to handle like 3 winning campaigns. And what happened in my presidential campaign only happened because you got married. Second, it's also not widely known that without your Youth for Babbitt group, in 1978, we would never have beaten at a meeting. At the time, we thought he was unelectable. But history has changed that, and now I realize how pivotal you really were. And Tucson was your bailiwick. I do have one bone to pick, though. Why the hell didn't you sell that damn moth-eaten moose head, Bruce the Moose, at the Y4B Youth Rummage sale instead of giving the pitiful thing to my boys to stink up their bedroom for all these years? Still, I forgive you. And I'm devastated to miss this event. You know I'd be here in person if I could possibly have made it. But you know, on Saturday nights, I regularly watch reruns of my presidential campaign debates. And tonight, I promised the boys I'd make popcorn and let them watch the Saturday Night Live tape. And you know how important the family is now, don't you, Jan? Speaking of family, I've never given you and Joel a wedding present. Wouldn't your boys just love a nice moose head to hang in their bedroom? It's been so long since Sweet Bambi has been back to Tucson, and I'm sure she'd love to come back where she started. No. Just give my secretary her address, and I'll have her delivered immediately. Sincerely, Bruce. Official non-candidate for president, but possibly positioning for a cabinet seat. Bad.
Exciting people, and they're really exciting, and speakers that are enough to, well, incite us to riot or jump up on our feet. Next, we have a letter from Dennis. You can see me. As read by the one and only Carolyn Gatla. God, that was amazing. That's the first runway I've been on. Listen, wonderful. I really do have a letter from Dennis, actually. I'm not his speaks bullshit. I don't serious. It's real serious here. He's running for election. We have to be serious. Dear Jan, it's actually from Susie too. I guess you could have guessed. Susie and I are very disappointed that we're able to be with you tonight on the occasion of your retirement from the Tucson Community Cable Calendar. We always warned you, however, that not missing a single episode of Dukes of Hazzard didn't any more qualify you to run a cable company than eating at the International House of Pancakes qualified Gary Hart to discuss foreign politics. As we think, Dennis and Susie, back over the many years of our friendship. Tight, yes. Susie and I most fondly remember our many conversations of how the good times would be good when you became a congressional wife. I didn't know they were so close either. You're leading Joel to believe that you could provide his campaign with volunteers, political strategy, and money in order to get him to propose to you as grown And then to have married him even after the election really shows what you're made of. We'll always be thankful, however, for your making Joel agree that in 1988, if we needed it, in order to marry him, he would endorse our atonement. Your friendship will always be in our hearts. As a token of our esteem, you're home. Okay. Susie and I would like to have a baseball jersey for my very first softball team in my office in Washington, D.C. The name, the Deacon Senior Reservation, came from what we thought would be a very brief moment of notoriety during my first term in the United States Senate. Little did we know that even today, as I begin my run for a third term,
as your United States Senator, Jan Leshner. Would the deconceding reservation to the Panama Canal treaties still be an issue? It is for this reason that we hope you will wear it often. For we know that if you wear this proudly on your chest, Jan, it will soon be overlooked.
Represented by, well, just one of the girls, Cynthia Henry.
I think I need to tell you about First Friday. First Friday is a luncheon group that started many years ago. As I told Betsy Bowling the other day, there should be a map. In Oregon is Nancy Ames. In Fresno, California is Margaret Steele. Now Cynthia Henry is working in Phoenix. And the rest are in Tucson, and Judas Tyree, no doubt, is in heaven. But I have known Jan since 1978. And so when I moved to Phoenix and Ralph Milstead heard about this roast, he sent me with a letter. Blessedly short, Jan. Dear Jan, I'll never forget the rendezvous in Castrandon. Back in the old days, when you were working for State Senator Hotland, and I was police chief of Phoenix, and only I know that you were the one in the photograph at Swampy, the one that ran on the front of the New Times. But I'll never forget you, Jan. Your body, well, most of your body. Anyway, it's out. I apologize publicly this week for having our picture taken on Swampy. And no one ever looked better in my uniform. Love, Carl Ralph. All I can say.
Exciting, perhaps the most topical person ever.
That's right.
Absolutely. We got the very
X.
The XM. F Meekum, represented by the X Becky Gaspar.
Tasteful. Dear Jan, my wife and I extend our congratulations to you on this event and your honors. I, like you, have fought to protect the right of every person to have access to the Arizona public to speak out, no matter how tasteless, embarrassing, or outrageous the remarks may be. Bill Bowler told me that although he was dazzled by your beauty, he had seen you round-eyed at some public access programming, especially his. You must surely agree that a Christian nation such as ours can tolerate only so many pickaninnies before this democracy thing gets out of hand. I salute you, Mrs. Ireland. This is tough. On behalf of the good people of Arizona, who must certainly be poorly represented in any crowd of your friends. Sincerely, ex-Gov.
Well, this is the last of the notables, but certainly not the least. Another, this man, I think, won the election on his powerful speeches, his presence on TV.
His steering committee.
Right, absolutely. Tom Folge couldn't be here tonight, so he's represented by
connect the parts of a compound word or between syllables, especially of a word divided at the end of a line. The root hyphen comes from late Greek. Sincerely, Tom!
I like to read my own letter. Dear Jan, I'm so sorry I couldn't be with you. What can you say about a person who hyphenates their name? Webster says it has a punctuation mark used to connect the parts of a compound word or between syllables, especially the word divided at the end of a line. The root hyphen comes from the late Greek. Sincerely, Thomas J. Volge, Mayor, Carol Zimmerman. I'm supposed to tell stories. I have a number of stories here. I don't know if I can do this. I should give you a warning, Jan, that if you leave in the next 3 minutes, you can be in Vegas by 3 a.m. I thought a lot about this. I had 4 stories to tell you. The reason why I'm holding this is because I had a roast done for me once where I got real done. About 2 years ago, some 300-400 people in single command all stood up and put these on. As I sat there looking at a sea of these noses, and it turned out to be a wretched, horrendous experience. So I wanted to pay Jan back for that. And I had a few stories. One of them was about the first time I met Jan. It was about almost 10 years ago at the plaza. She came in wearing a long red dress, immediately recognized by everyone there, carrying a satchel of money. Now, I wasn't supposed to know Jan. We were in cable franchising at the time, and we had no contact with her. It said you could not talk to people on the other side. This woman comes in carrying a satchel of money with a long red dress on, very inconspicuous, walks up to the table and puts the money down. First time I met Jan. Second time, Jan, no, I won't. I want to tell you that I will not tell the ending to any of these stories. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One is that ever since you all have been here, Joel's been taking notes. And I sense that tonight there are going to be questions. And I'm not going to contribute to any of that. The other one is that there's a tape rolling, and I'd like to continue my career for at least another 3 months. The second time Jan and I had any involvement at all was when I turned on the tube and saw her representing Warner Amex, saying, we are going to get out of this little town because the city council is making unreasonable demands on us, and we have to leave. We cannot honor their contractual commitments. That night I was on the tube saying, I don't know who this woman is, Jan Lesher, the one with the red dress and satchel of money, but she's a liar. She remembered my name after that. There was a story about Chicago when Jan had left that business and went on to something far more important, where we tried to get on a plane to come back negotiating with the cable industry, and they wouldn't let Jan on the plane in Chicago. Now, this was during the period before deregulation, when they would let anyone on the plane. If you were carrying a submachine gun, they would let you on the plane. They would not let Jan on the plane at O'Hare Airport on a Saturday night with no one on the plane. Later on, you need to talk to her about that story. There's a story about Dallas, Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, where for 2 days this woman was trapped with New York and Washington lawyers negotiating cable. And at the end of that evening, we had a major breakthrough. For the first time, the cable industry decided to make some concessions to us. And Jan decided that she was going to show Washington and New York lawyers how Westerners drink tequila. So long story involved with that too. All I can tell you is that the next morning when I went to breakfast, Jan had one of those purses. She's taking them out one thing at a time, looking for her contact. Talk to her about that. I'm going to tell a single one of those stories. I think actually Jeff really had it on because the most humiliating thing that I can think of with respect to Jan is to tell the truth. It's a great thing. And there's a great deal to be praised. I knew Jan first in a very confrontive kind of environment where she was a cable franchisor for Warner Amex. She was a franchisor who was honest. Probably the only honest cable franchisor I ever met in my life. And it took a great deal of dedication and work to be able to make it go and still be honest. And she was that. She had to leave it if she was honest. She was a cable administrator for the city and gave her heart and soul and her intelligence to it and fought a system that's sometimes hard to fight and stood up for her principles and did the best job anyone could have possibly ever expected of her. She had to leave because of it. And she was the director of the public access system in Tucson and put it on the map and made people from all around the country look at us because of that. And got recognized in the best way that she could, which is to have the admiration and respect of her peers. She was the best of that. Wonderful eulogy. So let me stop there and say I want all of you to stand up and give her a toast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bravo! Woo-hoo! Here, here.
Well, I'm sorry, it's almost over. Hold it in, Jan. Just giving me the sign like this. No,
Taking care of everything in one night.
that's it. We're moving quickly. We're going to be the first crossover by 10 o'clock in the history of Tucson.
That's right.
And now we've got, well, the last
Celebrant.
and perhaps the only celebrant. We've got, well, the man behind the woman. The person who wanted to represent all of us.
Or at least,
District 5. The man who since beating Jan no longer is bothered by bringing around the collar. John Ireland!
The notes. Well, I'm here to speak about my wife, and I was actually very glad to be invited. Jan has been very kind to me this last month. And in anticipation, Susan Malls actually made a joke about laypersons. And it sort of worried me a little bit. The picture of all the Navy guys who are cousins, all of a sudden came into focus for me. You saw my story. It's not actually a true story about Jan and I meeting in the confessional. That's not actually a true story. In fact, Jan and I met in my political campaign. Little did I know that was the kiss of death after the half-cent sales tax, Tony Mason, ballot for president. So, at least I'm able to be here tonight. But you've heard about her political career enough. Illustrious political career and important people addressing her tonight. Senator DeConcini, our mayor, the ex-governor of Arizona. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our personal life. Here in 6 months of marriage. First, well, I think it'll be an interesting portrait of Jan for you all. My son Sam, when he first met Jan, we were working, actually, it was just after the primary, and we were going over some things at my house, and we were it was late at night, and Jan was smoking cigarettes and drinking Coca-Cola, and my little, then 3-year-old son came up to her, and he said, "Gee, Jan Lesher, you are really pretty. I hope my daddy marries you." And she got all flustered, you know, and then he said, "Can I have a drink of your Coke?" Yeah, this is a woman of the age, you know, don't try to flatter her, no sir. It was actually soon after that, I think 2 or 3 hours, that we decided to get married. Actually, it was one of those decisions that we made together all the time. I learned early how Jan and I would make decisions together. We sort of, you know, work it out. She tells me what we're going to do, and then it's done. That's the way we decided on our honeymoon. I wanted to go to New York City on our honeymoon, catch a few plays, and you know, see the town. It's a place where I went to seminary, learn how to become a priest. Jan, however, wanted to go to Mexico, Acapulco. Another little insight to her, she'd rather have diarrhea than Broadway. Well, so we're on our honeymoon. We're down in Acapulco. One of the decisions we made together. Nobody, absolutely nobody, had told me about the falling. Walking along in Mexico, all of a sudden we're talking, isn't that beautiful, the ocean's out there, Jan's gone. I have no idea where she is. I look around all directions. 2 paces back, she's on the ground. Skirt up over her head. I'm screaming, "Oh my God, she's low!" And she's screaming, "Don't scream, just help me out, you can't do it." And meanwhile, the whole crowd gathered around. I tried to tuck her dress back down. Nobody told me about the falling. Life has settled down. I know about the falling. I just simply stepped back. No problem. And actually, you saw on the tape that she suggested our 2 little boys as cat toys. She actually loves those boys very much, and the boys love her. In fact, sometimes I feel like a third wheel around. Early on when we were married, Jan took out an insurance policy on me, a rather large one. And a week or 2 later, my 6-year-old boy came in and said, "Dad, make it sound like a frog." I said, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." He said, "Come on, Dad, make it sound like a frog." I said, "Well, make it sound like a frog, what's the story?" And he said, "Well, Jan says, when you croak, we get to go to Disneyland." So I watched my back, and no, I've got to say, I'm not here to make fun of Jan. She is actually, all kidding aside, my reason for living, and I hope you'll all stand up and give her a hand. Jan Lesher.
Jerry Anderson, Award, and the presenters Tom Bolge, Richard Klein, Joel Ireland, Jeff Smith, First Friday, of course, did a wonderful job, Sam Barron at TCCC, staff who's done this marvelous job taping this, Carol Romano, and of course, last but not least, Jan herself. Carol Zimmerman and Betsy Bowling, who did so much to bring this together, and all of you for coming. Thank you.
poetry show. You're terrific.
I look forward to your memoirs.
Keep it going.
Keep the glasses going.
Very much. I didn't know I was going to speak today. After hearing all of you speak, there are many, many thoughts running through my mind.
Right.
Thank you. And Tom's stories are lies. Honestly, God, lies. My mother can tell you I never tell. I have a couple people I want to just introduce to you very, very quickly. Primarily because, as a lot of you over the years, I have done a lot of fundraisers. And I've always had to be on that side, and I never knew what it was like to have to sit and never leave and go to the bathroom throughout the entire issue. So we're going to move this very quickly here. Let me start with the table here. As you probably heard, I was married recently and became part of the Ireland family. And so for Mary, Ann, Sharon, and Jeff Ireland, all of my Ireland family. And the people that did a lot to make possible all of the material that you have heard tonight and you've heard for many, many years. My brother Steve, my mom June. The smartest man in the world, my father, who is in London, England on vacation, Bob. And above all, I guess a thanks to all of you, because you know, anybody that's met me in the last several years knows that if you give me more than about 2 seconds, I spend some time on a soapbox talking about freedom of speech and the future of the known world as I see it, which relates to freedom of speech, which is only possible with public access. And in this community is Tucson Community Cable. Yeah. So I thank